Hey, how's it going? This is Melinda and welcome to my channel. Today I want to talk to you about my Analogue Productions collection. I'm going to be showing some of the Analogue Productions records I have in my collection and talk about the ones that I think are good enough to get and maybe some that are good enough to skip. It's just my opinion, and of course you should decide for yourself what records you want to have in your collection. But I just want to talk about this. I made a video a couple years back, did the same thing with mobile fidelity records I have. So I just thought this would be a fun topic. If you're not a subscriber to my channel, please subscribe. Hit the like button and the notification bell. Thank you. And let's go ahead and get started. First off, Analogue Productions is a wonderful record label. It is a division of Acoustic Sounds, which is an overall company. You can go on their website and you can order records from many different labels from Acoustic Sounds. But Analogue Productions is the record label, and they make quality records. They put them on really high quality jackets. The sound quality is fantastic. We're talking about mastering engineers like the late Doug Sachs, the amazing Bernie Grunman, Kevin Gray, Ryan K. Smith. The list goes on, and they're fantastic pressings. And I'm going to show you the ones I think are the absolute highlights, as well as others that I think are really good too, but you could possibly find better pressings of or similar pressings of. So let's go ahead and get started. And these are records that are strictly on the spine, say Analogue Productions. I have a lot of the records that have come out from the Prestige series, the Verve label, the Impulse series that has come out, and just a lot of other things. So I do have a lot of records in my collection. These are strictly what say on the spine Analogue Productions. Let's get started with this really nice box. Analogue Productions. This is the Royal Ballet. It is a multi-LP set, and it is absolutely stunning. It was cut by Bernie Grunman, beautifully done. If you want a classical record in your collection, this would be my top recommendation. It's gorgeous. It's music you're going to recognize. It does have the Nutcracker Suite, so a lot of times you may want to just listen to it at Christmas time, but no. You got to listen to it year round. It will elevate your mood. It will just create a beautiful ambiance in your home. And unless you're in the audience, it will never sound better. So this is a beautiful one. And also, I want to point out that I do have a couple of UHQRs from Analogue Productions. I have Kind of Blue by Miles Davis. I also have Jimi Hendrix, Are You Experienced? And they're both fantastic. So now let's go ahead and move on to the Beach Boys Pet Sounds. Again, we're talking about beautiful jackets with really nice gatefolds, 45 RPM. So if that's not your thing, that's something to consider. I personally don't mind getting up a little more often to hear more depth and clarity, especially when it comes to incredible, important records like Pet Sounds. The music that just comes out into the air, atmospheric beauty, it's just in spades here. You're never going to get more beautiful harmonies than you do. This is the stereo version I decided to pick up. They also had it in mono. Absolutely stunning record, and I don't think Pet Sounds can get any better. It can't sound any better than what this one does. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think that is the best sounding Pet Sounds. Especially, I highly recommend the stereo version. Here is Surfer Girl by the Beach Boys. This is a 33 RPM record, and again, beautiful harmonies that just fill the room, and they just are so incredible. The Beach Boys, of course, are already beautiful to listen to, but then you get high quality vinyl and a high quality record like this one, and it's just gonna be a home run. Absolutely fantastic. Here's another one, and I'd say if you're not into jazz music, but you're kind of interested, this is one of those first records you should pick up. Time Out by the Dave Brubeck Quartet. And this is, again, 45 RPM. It is a beautiful record, and it sounds really great. This one was remastered by Bernie Grundman, a home run. So a great one to own if you need something in your collection, an introduction to jazz. This is a standout jazz record. Here's another standout jazz record that I really love. And again, if you're just trying to get into jazz, you're going to recognize some of these songs. And I think that always helps in the beginning, and then you can kind of move on and discover new music. This is Miles Davis, Someday My Prince Will Come, with his lovely wife at the time on the cover. It sounds beautiful, really gorgeous, gorgeous record, and I really love having that one. Now we're going to move on to some rock and roll music from the 60s. And Analogue Productions put out these wonderful Doors albums, 6 in all, and I'm blessed to have all of them. This is the Doors. This is their debut album. I think out of all 6, this is maybe the one that I think maybe doesn't sound quite as good as the rest of them. But I think it was just the way it was originally recorded. And I'm not saying it sounds bad at all. It sounds great. It's 45 RPM. It is a beautiful record to own. Great classic music by the Doors. So if you're a Doors fan, I have a mono version by Sundazed, and this is a really terrific record to have. The mono version's cool too, but I say get that one. This is a 45 RPM from Analogue Productions, and it's fantastic. Now we can move on to LA Woman. This is a wonderful one, really incredible. And Riders of the Storm sounds fantastic on here. Love Her Madly, LA Woman. I think this is one of the best sounding records by the Doors when it comes to Analogue Productions. Start with this one and move on from there, and you won't be sorry. Very, very wonderful. And it was cut at the Mastering Lab by Doug Sachs. So if you ever see, when you're looking in the Dead Wax, TML, it stands for the Mastering Lab, and you're usually going to get a really great sounding record when you run into that. Here is another beautiful one, Morrison Hotel, fabulous. The gatefold, fabulous, so good. Of course, the original had that gatefold too. This is more of a bluesy record from the Doors, but I really like it. I'm not big into the blues. I'm trying to get into it a little bit more. This is a great way to start. 45 RPM, sounds fantastic. This is one of the standouts, I think. I'd say LA Woman and the Soft Parade. You're getting a lot of really cool horns and different things that were originally recorded in this record that really stand out on this pressing. 45 RPM. It's just one of the highlights, the Soft Parade. If you love this album, you would love this version of it. Strange Days, featuring the song People Are Strange, a classic. And this is just a fantastic record. Again, it sounds really great. I think the Soft Parade and LA Woman sound a little bit better than this one, but it's still just a great one to have. You really can't go wrong with any of these in the Doors series. And finally, my favorite album by the Doors, Waiting for the Sun. I love Hello, I Love You. That's my favorite song by the Doors. Really, really great. Again, we're talking about mastered by the late Doug Sachs from the Mastering Lab, and it's a fantastic one. So I love having the Doors series. They're really fantastic records. And now we can move on to another one, Masterpieces by Ellington. And for me, this is one of the best sounding overall records in my collection. The sound quality of this will blow your mind. The question is, you have to ask yourself, do you really love the music? And I am a huge fan of Ellington. I think he's fantastic. There's a lot of clarinet playing on here, and I used to play a clarinet, so maybe I'm a little biased. Not everybody loves the sound of a clarinet. It's a heavily, you hear the clarinet on here a lot, let's just put it that way. But it is a great one. I say stream this first. Make sure you like the music. If you like this music by Duke Ellington, you are going to love this version of it. 45 RPM again, absolutely fantastic. Now, a lot of us are Elvis fans, and that movie that came out this summer blew my mind. I cannot wait to own the Blu-ray. I love the movie. I love Elvis. He's great. And because of that movie, I've been more and more inspired to have more Elvis in my collection. if I had to give up every single record in my collection and keep just one, this one would be it. This is Elvis 24 Carat Hits. This is the Analogue Productions version of it. It is absolutely amazing. It has nearly every Elvis song you could ever want. Elvis has never sounded better. If I was giving any critique at all, I'd say there's 3 LPs and they did not do a gatefold. So all 3 LPs are tucked inside. But the good thing about that is this album cover is so thick that it doesn't affect that at all. It doesn't ruin the shape of the album. It's not a big deal at all, really. If you're just being nitpicky, you could say you wish there was a gatefold. But this is a great one. And I love Elvis and the songs on here. Great stuff like Heartbreak Hotel, So Suspicious Minds, In the Ghetto on here. It sounds incredible. So that is a great one. Here is another one here. Here is Bill Evans at the Montreal Jazz Festival. And I'm really excited. Analogue Productions should be pretty soon putting out the Bill Evans Riverside Recordings box set, 45 RPM. I'm really excited about that. In the meantime, this is a wonderful concert, and Bill Evans sounds great. They did a great job on here, 45 RPM. And as far as concert albums go, you're just not going to get a better sounding one than this. This is really, really good. This is one that I didn't absolutely love the music until I bought the record and sat back and listened to the whole album and got the whole album experience. This was a gift to my husband for Christmas because he loves it. Norah Jones, Come Away With Me. Of course, that's a beautiful song. I'm not denying that. It's just not something I pick out and listen to often. But now that I've been sitting around with my husband, just relaxing and listening to this album as a whole, for one, you cannot deny the sound quality and her voice and just the way this was. It's just a beautiful, well-recorded record, and it sounds fantastic. So this is another great one. Now we're moving again into another rock record. Leonard Skynyrd, and this is pronounced Leonard Skinner. It is a fantastic record. It was remastered at Sterling Sound by Ryan K. Smith, and we have beautiful songs on here like Free Bird. The whole last side, I think, is dedicated to just that one long, beautiful song. The guitars are really, really good on this version. Simple Man is my favorite song by Leonard Skinner. It's gorgeous on here. And there is a really nice copy, though, of music on vinyl. They did a fantastic job on here, too. I say if you want to get the definitive version, this probably is it. If you already have the music on vinyl version, it's really good, too. This one, again, Sterling Sounds, Ryan K. Smith. Fantastic version. Here is another Leonard Skynyrd record from Analogue Productions that I really love. It is Leonard Skynyrd's Second Helping. This features Sweet Home Alabama. What a wonderful record. You turn it on. Sweet Home Alabama is the first song. You get that very first guitar, and then it builds, and a little more layers, and it's just incredible, and it sounds great. This one was mastered by Kevin Gray at Coherent Audio, and another home run, and I really enjoy that one. And here is one that I say, if you have a beautiful original pressing of it, you're probably good. But if you are a fan of this artist like I am, and you want to get the best of the best, we're talking a beautiful album cover and just the royal treatment for this person. This is a great way to go. I'm talking about Eddie Money. This beautiful album, it has Baby Hold On, 2 Tickets to Paradise. It just is part of my childhood. And anytime I see or hear those songs, I can literally be in the room where I was a little child listening to those songs. It's just one of those records that transports me back to childhood. And of course, originals are easy to get and very plentiful. But I could not resist getting this Analogue Productions version of it. I love how the gatefold matches the album cover where it says Eddie Money, the hot pink. I love the pictures and it sounds really good. Again, I wouldn't say if you have a beautiful original copy that you're really happy with, I'm not going to say you have to go out and buy this one. It's 33 RPM. It sounds really good and it's Eddie Money, a really important record for me and for my childhood. Now, we're moving on to what I think is the best sounding record in my collection when it comes to classic records. Classic rock, I should say. Ted Nugent. This is a killer sounding record. You'll never hear Stranglehold better, and it's just incredible. The guitar playing, the singing is so incredible on here, the vocals. It just sounds amazing. It's one of the best sounding records in my collection, definitely the best sounding rock record in my collection. So 45 RPM. There is a 33 RPM version too. If you like that better, get it. But I say go for the gold, go for broke. You'll really love this version of it. Now, here is another beautiful record. It is one of my favorite records when it comes to relaxing and just sitting back. And I don't know why this record hits my heart in all of the right ways. Just beautiful. And I do have a Mobile Fidelity Sound Lab version of this record that was gifted to me by Brian from Nashville. It's a gorgeous record. But when I saw the 45 RPM Analogue Productions version of this record, I knew I had to get it because it's such a special record. I'm talking about Willie Nelson's Stardust, just full of beautiful classic songs. You know, he's normally a country singer, but these are beautiful standards. Willie Nelson sounds fantastic. The Mobile Fidelity record sounds really great. It's 33 RPM. I have a fireplace outside, and a lot of times on a beautiful night, we'll light the fireplace, we'll open the doors, turn on the stereo, and I will play the 33 RPM record. And I prefer that when I'm outside because you don't have to get up and change the record as often. But when I'm inside, this is probably my go-to version of that. You can't go wrong with either one. If you already have the Mobile Fidelity one, this one is nice too. It's not a have to have, but this sounds great. And finally, here is a wonderful classical record. I highly recommend the Royal Ballet. But if that's not really your thing and you like something a little more whimsical, maybe a little more haunting, something that sounds a little more like Harry Potter music maybe, which is Brew. This is a beautiful sounding record. It's incredible. It sounds like a Harry Potter type of themed album. You know, if you want to play at Halloween, something that doesn't scare the kids, but kind of sounds like a fall day or Halloween, this is a great way to go. It is delightful to listen to. And I think this is a 33 RPM one. Sounds great. And I really love it. So those are my Analogue Production records. That is my collection. If you have one that you highly recommend, leave it in the comments and let me know what you think. And thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe and I will see you next time. Take care. Bye-bye.